Welcome back into the Play the Fight Song College Football Show. Another offseason week is upon us, which means it's time to talk offseason college football, which of course includes rankings. Tonight is the Big Ten quarterbacks in 2026. Of course, I'm joined alongside my week-to-week co-host. Everybody's back in studio. Reese, Jake, JP, and myself. We're excited to be back as Reese and Jake are returning from Mexico. A little trip away from JP and I to give themselves a breather. How was that, gents? What about you, Reese?
It was a good time. Got way more burnt. Turns out, don't mess with the sun. I knew that going down in there, but I didn't believe in him that much. I sprayed way more sunscreen than I should have. One of the bummers, though, we were watching the USA Mexico game. We also like baseball on this podcast as well. USA versus Mexico game, and we went to one of the bars, and I was expecting those guys to care a whole lot more. They didn't give. Nobody was
baseball apparently isn't that big in Mexico.
We had to tell them to turn it on, and then me and my buddy are doing a shot for every 1, 2, 3 inning that Paul Skeens was having, and Bryce Harper dropped one, which we could have done 4 in a row, but just something was going on there too. So, but we had a great time.
That sounds like fun. Sounds like a dangerous territory. Thank God Skeens only went 4 innings. Jake, how did Mexico go in your half?
Yeah, it was good. Good 5 days away, just hanging out on a beach and water, and can't really complain. The human body is just fascinating to me on how like your skin just peels and it recovers. I kind of stared at my shoulder for like 5 minutes today, just being like, I don't know, it's just kind of
not tougher than the sun, guys.
That's
we're not tougher than the sun.
Probably the least most fat. That's like the least fascinating thing about the human body that you get to pick from. But
yeah,
I mean, the fact that
is it your first time being sunburned in years or what?
Well, it's been in South Dakota here, we haven't seen the sun since September, so it kind of feels
also, wasn't
like
it like
5 years?
The one that fired me up though when we got back though, it was 6:15 and the sun was still out, and we got back. Shape. I don't know if you caught that today, but I was like, "This is awesome."
7:45 tonight.
Spraying ahead when we were there. So what a good time to be in Mexico too.
We missed the daylight savings time. We did not lose an hour of sleep Sunday night because obviously Mexico doesn't do that. So that was something that we didn't plan on purposely. That was just kind of clutch.
You might have to just move to California. I don't know if you guys saw the news story today, but there's some sort of like scientist that wants to launch mirrors towards the moon, and these mirrors would then reflect and illuminate the earth all through the night. And it's supposed to end seasonal depression. So look that up.
I need
that is the thing.
I need a boat khakis story. I need a story.
Yeah, that's what I was literally about to ask you, JP. How do you feel about khakis on a boat?
Is that like a thing? Like,
now that you mentioned it, I saw your comment, JP, and I was like, I probably should have said something, and I just never crossed my mind, honestly.
Is that
until you said it, and then I was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Like you probably should be wearing some sort of shorts or something. But it was kind of chill.
Well, I had one pair of like the golf shorts that just were fucking dirty, so I was like, I'm not wearing these.
You wear your trunks or something. You have one pair of shorts.
I could have, I guess, but we were going right to the bar after that. Like literally, we got off.
It was
the boat,
nice
went to the bars.
Yeah. It was. You had to wear.
Was it like?
It was a sunset cruise.
Okay.
It was a sunset cruise. It wasn't like a daytime thing. It was like we went there at 5, and then we were on the boat.
Reese jumped into the ocean in his khakis on.
The aesthetic of everybody being in like boat attire, and then Reese just in khakis on.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what the hell's wrong with khakis on the boat. We didn't go swimming or anything, but all right.
If you were on like a yacht or something that looks like you could walk around and just be in and out, I get that. Like that makes sense. But it was like
that was kind of the situation.
If we were gonna go, we were just on a little yacht. We were drinking and eating food. Yeah, if we were going swimming, I was going to do that shit. But
threw me off.
All right, let's leave the Mexico trip there. Boys are back in the States, which means it's time to talk college football. So let's do that. Let's lead it off with the question of the night. We will first go through that. Then we will go through some college football news, as there was a plethora that dropped this week. Then we will go into maybe a uniform selection of our uniform swag nominees base, if we can find a way to pull that up, or at least pick one from the list without showing you. Bad podcasting, or good podcasting, I should say, bad showmanship. And then to wrap up tonight's show, we will rank our 2026 Big Ten quarterbacks with Big Ten Jake in the studio. Mm-hmm. Let's talk on a team out of the Big Ten, and that's Indiana. The question of the night tonight, gentlemen, who would you like to see be the next Indiana-style story, and why? So this is a program that obviously isn't going to be the losingest like Indiana was, but down to that level. Who would you like to see become that prominent player in a very fast way and possibly compete all the way through the college football playoff? What school is that to you, JP?
I wrote down 3 and I had different stories behind them, but I feel like there's like obvious ones that you would select in this situation. Like if you just went off losing his programs of all time.
I have a very obvious one.
Yeah, so I think if you guys have the obvious one down, I think we should just say it first, and then I'll get into the other one I have and the kind of the backstory why I maybe went up a little bit.
I mean,
Iowa State's one of the
losingest programs of all time. I think that'd be pretty cool if we found some money and just won a national championship. Personally, but
I thought
I have more answers.
Isn't Northwestern a really popular one in this, and Purdue are 2 that are towards the bottom of that?
Yeah, I guess I was more framing it as the question of like a school that maybe you have some sort of a liking to, not just based off the statistical sucking.
Yeah, I didn't take it. I wasn't like, this is just a losing school. I was like, this would be a fun program.
A school that
like,
I think would be awesome.
They've maybe been relevant, and they would be fun to like be at the top.
Jake, Iowa State, fair answer. Still fits the narrative.
I can lead with one that we don't talk Iowa State.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is in the same conference though. A program that is traditionally really, really bad, but has found its way in the last 20 some years to kind of get better and better and has won a conference title. But like, this is a fan base that would eat it up really well. This is a fan base that would support it at a high level. I had Kansas State down.
Have that one on my list.
Because I kind of thought of the Indiana thing. It wasn't like a non-existent Indiana fan base. Like they were very big basketball fans. They show out for their teams, but there was never anything to get on the football side. Even in that 2021 year, early, right? They came after, like, I think they're ranked in the top 20, top 15.
Wait, did you say Kansas State or Kansas?
Kansas State. Because you would have you'd have the fan base and the support. It's already kind of taken a little bit of a step up, and you see what they can be.
They have more money than you think too.
Yeah, it would just be one of those. I don't think that they're hated by many people outside of a couple of their rivals. Obviously, within the state, that Iowa State's not a big fan of them either. But that would be one I would love to see flourish because it's not a blue blood. It's one everybody talks about or just kind of bats an eye at times.
They've been a lot closer in different situations than Indiana has been, though. Like with Colin Klein, they were pretty close that year. Would they play Oregon in a Fiesta Bowl? They would have made a 12-team playoff.
Yeah.
Michael Bishop year.
Will Smith a couple of years ago before he was at Ohio State.
Yeah, Will Smith's the actor on I Am Legend.
You're good. I was just watching Bad Boys 2. He's on the brain.
Like Michael Bishop, what was it? 2000. They were really, really good. Like, they have never won a national championship. I get what you're saying though, JP. It was all.
I just think they'd fit the narrative of the fan base. They've already kind of started a little bit. You know that. I think it's just something that would pop and really catch college football's eye, in my opinion. Like if they started winning the Big 12 easily, hand over fist, and then beating perennial powers, and then winning a national title, I think that's on my list. Like this isn't just completely out of the woodwork. There was a foundation there, if that makes sense.
Makes sense. We'll
program almost got cut before. Jesus Christ, Bill Snyder.
There you go.
Bill Snyder is mid. They get very angry if you say that. All right, Reese, who's your selection for this?
I went with one they've had relevancy, but I mean, they're still like a decent football program year in, year out. But I kind of took it as like Bloomington is a town where that kind of basketball always reigns supreme, but it's not a major market. I think I kind of went that same vein where like this town, it would mean so much to them and the people. But I think Morgantown getting to be relevant, like the 2005 through 2007. Like, do you remember like when Rich Rod first got there? Like this team with Pat White, like these offense, and then when these teams are good too, like when when West Virginia's been good, like that offense was high flying, and like was it 11 and I think it was 2011, 2016, they went 10-3 with Holgerson. Like I think that's a brand too. Like that logo is noticeable. Like it's just one of the cleanest ones too. But like Morgantown isn't huge. Like that is what those guys do on their Saturdays. It's not a stadium of 100,000 people, but I think it's like 50 to 60,000 people. And like when that place is at capacity for like country roads or a backyard brawl, or you get back like the rivalry with Virginia Tech, like that, I think that program would be a lot of fun because like I said, I kind of took it as a smaller mid-market where if it does explode, like it's going to mean so much to like that state and those people. So I like West Virginia.
Yeah, and I like that one and everything. And baseball, they've hosted regionals there, and it's been crazy. Like that's
underrated fan base across all sports, but especially in football. I feel like they get that tab of like being the West Virginia, trashy style human, but like they're great fans.
And that was the Big East too. That wasn't Big 12. That was Big East. And like I was looking this up. Do you guys random trivia? Who was the 2007 Big East Coach of the Year?
If it wasn't Rich Rod,
It wasn't Rich Rod was 2005, 2006, and 2007.
Was it
Schiano?
Yeah, I'll say it was a Rutgers. Schiano.
Schiano was 6.
Who's the USF's coach? Who was the USF coach in 07?
Not USF.
Not
They weren't
USF.
in that
Yeah,
yet.
that would have been a year
Nope.
before.
This is a school who is now in the Big 12.
Oh, then
This is a very popular
UCF?
coach that shaped
no,
put-
since Cincinnati. Who was
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati's coach?
Brian Kelly.
Yep, there you go.
Good job, JP.
I was like,
Good
damn,
pull.
I forgot about him being at Cincinnati, but yep, I looked at it, I was like, yep, Schiano and Kelly and Rich
Kinda
Rod was
crazy he got a
2005.
coach of the year within that, right around that West Virginia.
Hey, he's ready to coach
Yeah,
again.
right.
Who's on deck? Who wants to scoop up Brian Kelly next?
Is that what he
Who
said?
wants the
Yeah.
2007 Coach of the Year?
What, you leave the country, you don't follow college football anymore, Jake? Lock in. But yeah, he came out this week and said that. So anybody who's out there wanting Brian Kelly, come get him.
Why doesn't he just take the year off?
I mean, I'm a fire football.
Those guys are
fan.
different.
I think he will. I don't know who's picking him up at this point.
It's gonna be an analyst. or somebody, dude. You're
Maybe
getting paid
his
$7
agent was like, "We got to say you're ready, right? So you
Yeah,
can get people
yeah.
thinking for next
Because
year."
he's going to be the first name that comes
Get a
up
tweet out, Brian.
on the first fired job next year. You know he will.
Yes, 100%. He'll be right at the top of the list. For my selection in this, I went kind of in the thought process of who's been in the shadow of maybe a school across town or across the state with all the resources, and how cool of a story Oregon State would be out of Corvallis. And just, getting left in the dust with the Pac-12 and being one of two teams. And yeah, sure, you get the list of conference championship for 2024. Nobody's ever going to recognize it, or maybe in 50 years when they look back, they'll be like, wow, I forgot they won that. There was two teams. But how cool of a story would that be with just across the state being Phil Knight level money, Oregon, this national powerhouse that's constantly across the news and on your screen. And here comes Oregon State out of this newly founded Pac-12 within the national picture and competing on the highest level. So I think Oregon State would be a fun one. It's really not a school with any bit of good history. If you look back from the entire stretch of it, they've been in the Pac-12 since 1964, I believe. And they have two conference titles, one of them being 2024, the other one being 2000, under 500 record as a program. I believe it's 425 their winning percentage. So it would be a very similar story, probably more than people realize, especially with being under that little brother shadow. Jake, did you have a secondary for Iowa State?
Yeah, well, Iowa State was kind of sarcasm, but just in the more of the reign of like losing programs. They were obviously on the list. Kansas football was also on the list. I think they're kind of
crazy.
huge basketball. Yeah, I feel like it can happen. They have the money, they have the resources. Basketball school, brand new stadium, like they're ready to win. They just kind of took a step back last year. Mm-hmm. The other one that wasn't on that losingest programs of all time list would be like Boise State for me. I know they're kind of going to be behind the eight ball, similar to Oregon State in the fact that just I don't think they're ever going to find the luck of Indiana money and have a super big budget to compete with the biggest programs in college football. But they've been obviously really good among the G5 ranks, but if they could get back to, 07 where they were going toe to toe with an Oklahoma, something like that, I think just out in the middle of nowhere in Idaho, I know Boise's obviously the capital of Idaho is a big town, but just a team from Idaho kind of becoming a national power, I think would be awesome. The blue turf, getting on the national stage, hosting a playoff game would be really cool. And I think it'd be one of those schools too. It would be like the Oregon of our younger generation, like where everybody fell in love with the uniforms and every kid in your school started wearing Oregon gear. Like, I feel like Boise State could have that effect on a younger generation if they had huge star powers year after year, kind of like they did with Genty. But if they did it consistently year over year, I think the country would find their bandwagon behind Boise State. And I think rooting for Boise to be a national power would be pretty sweet.
Those kids ended up on my hate list growing up, and why I don't like Oregon.
That's fair.
Buying the
everybody
jerseys, wearing the shirts. Yeah.
The singular shirt that Shields sold, and it was like the neon yellow.
LaMichael James, D'Anthony Thomas.
Yeah, I actually, speaking of that, I actually joined like an Oregon Channel show the other night, late night. I think it was like 10 p.m. Central, and they were ranking each position. And LaMichael James and DeAnthony Thomas did not make the list at their perspective for these all three Oregon fans, and I was in awe of it.
Like
But
of top running backs in Oregon
of
history
all time, yeah, neither of them were on there.
Did LeGarrette Blunt make it?
Nope.
I gotta look up who are
What is that?
Oregon running backs. Like who else would?
That's what I said. I thought they were making people up.
The entire backfield from last year that was really damn good.
That's fair. They did probably
It's
do it more than
relevancy.
we were giving account.
Yeah, I
for.
remember.
Oh, yeah, they do. We just
Dyer
can't remember.
Hill was
It's
a
not
freshman
diehard
last year, and he
Oregon
was what is Dyer Hill? 6'3", 225 pounds. Was a freshman running back.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
The one I had a couple that I left off my list for reasons like they were part of like the lower winning percentage, not a lot of success. I had Northwestern and I was like, and Wake Forest were the two I was kind of like went back and forth on. I just, as cool as it would be and like to see that happen, I just don't think the pop would be the same as the Indiana. Like there's not the fan base ready. There's a large alumni base, but I don't know how invested they are in athletics to the extent Indiana already was in other athletics, if that makes sense. Like I'm not going to say no to it and I'd cheer it on, but it wouldn't give you the same pop. I'm trying to think.
What about
the shock factor, I guess, of all of it.
What about Vandy? Anybody kind of?
I mean, we kind of got it
Maybe
this
like
year,
kinda-
but I feel like, and this may be a weird thing, and maybe I'm seeing it different, but I felt like the Vandy fan base, as it's large because it's a bigger. Is it a big private school? Like, is it a large enrollment? Do we know the answer to that? Because it's
I
private
mean,
enrollment.
don't.
It's
smart.
Nashville.
but-
Nashville would make it interesting
Yeah.
and fun.
I
be
think
relevant.
Vandy kind of corporatized fan base.
Vanderbilt enrollment's
Didn't-
only
you said it.
13,000.
Okay, so it's not. It's still
That's
small
it.
private.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think if you ask the college football world, maybe a couple of years post Diego Pavia, they'd have a different answer for you than right now.
Oh yeah.
Right
If we asked
now,
this 5 years ago, yeah, you'd be like, yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds
But it feels.
awesome.
But now that I've seen it, right? Because this counts as this. Them going 10-2 after these 2 years, I feel like counts. You
They
saw
almost
the
made,
boom of
the
it.
playoff.
The fan base is passionate, but I felt like it was very corporatized, almost like it was like a show in Nashville. It's kind of how they presented themselves. It wasn't like the fan base of all these generations and generations of people, if that makes sense. I don't know. Maybe I just
Indiana, with the largest alumni, obviously played a massive part to when they came to that prominence, like them taking over and being the majority of the cheering sections at the national title and throughout the college football playoff. I think that's a great point. I don't know if that something would happen like that for Vandy with only 13,000 people at the school at once. And the more corporate, like if you go to Vandy, majority of time it's going to be for an elite education rather than a football national title. So
Do you
definitely
think?
fair there.
I have one more, and I want your opinions on it. Mississippi State. Do you think it would give you the boom because it's a large fan base that backs all sports, right? Very passionate. But would it lose its luster because it has an SEC tag on it and people wouldn't care?
I
think that part,
kind of think
yeah.
so. Like, what about UCF? They have like they're one of the biggest enrollment schools in the country.
No.
They need like 10, 15 years for all these guys.
Yeah,
to get a
right.
little
For
older.
all
They need a new
the
coach.
enrollment. Probably true there too.
Are you speaking from experience, sir?
Yes.
Well, they won one national championship with him. Do you know?
They did.
Yeah, I own
You
that
have a
shirt.
shirt.
Boy, you guys lit Joe Burrow up.
I did.
Those
own
teams
that
were
shirt.
good, though.
I do think
Was-
they are pretty passionate about football, and the bounce house is actually something I would like to get to one day.
Largest
I don't-
enrollment. Complete
Yeah.
opposite of Nashville. It's the largest enrollment in the U.S.
That
Do
kind of reminded
you-
me of the Indiana comparison.
Oh, what was I going to say? I had a good thought there and I lost it.
What about Houston?
No, they're
That one's similar. I don't
they're
know.
really-
Somebody
They're
out
good.
of Texas not being Texas, or A&M, I guess, wouldn't count either.
Somebody
with the
in
resources.
Texas not being
They-
Texas.
No Tech,
They're-
no
they're-
A&M, no
it's
Texas.
surprising. I know the
Rice.
basketball arena is tiny, so it's
Baylor.
easier to fill it up, and they've been really good the last decade. But their football fan base seems really weak to me. But granted, Indiana
haven't been
was
very
for
good.
a long time.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
they've
They
been-
are in
They've had
Houston,
good
though.
teams. Yeah, exactly.
That's-
And
There's
there's a
things to
lot.
do down there.
It's hard to compete with an NFL teams in your town. Like those kind of
Mhm.
schools are always going to have the NFL team to compare itself
Oh.
to.
I know what I thought it was going to be. This isn't really
But
related to the
historically,
exact
like
topic.
versus Tech, versus A&M, versus Texas, like to get the football fans' attention, it's like a Nebraska Creighton debate of like a Nebraska football fan that's a Creighton basketball fan. Well, Nebraska sucked forever, so they grew up liking Creighton because they were halfway decent. And it's probably the similar situation for Houston fans, where they grew up, maybe cheering for Houston basketball,
But at least they were in
Texas was at least competitive everywhere, so I might as well cheer for them.
Would you rather take that 2017 UCF team or that 2019? No. 2021 Cincinnati team. Who's better? The 17
UCF.
Yes, UCF team or that 21 Cincy team? Because they're both.
I know a lot more players on the Cincinnati team that are still in the NFL.
You can't do that though. Can't do that. Don't count.
Both defenses are pretty damn good.
That's what comes to my mind.
Play.
Like who's can somebody name me a guy from that UCF team that had like a good NFL career? Like there might not be an obvious career thing. I'm just saying like I'm comparing talent. That's what you're asking. What team would you take?
But their projectability in the NFL is not relevant to what they were in college. There's a billion guys that were absolute monsters in college that didn't make it in the NFL.
I mean, they were obviously good enough to beat what was then to become the quarterback of the quote-unquote greatest football team in college football history.
The year before, didn't that Cincinnati team go to Notre Dame and win that year?
So and they had one other power win. It might have just been it.
I think I'm taking Cincinnati.
That's Big 12 bias.
I need somebody to run the numbers. There's got to be somebody that has.
Well, isn't it? I mean, aren't they both in the Big 12?
No, I want those specific teams.
That would be crazy. That's maybe a good graphic. Who would win that game? Cincinnati fans would be all over that thing, I think. But all right, let's leave the question of the day there. Indiana, the next story from the show. The choices were Oregon State, Kansas State, West Virginia, and Jake, what was your final decision after Iowa State? Which is actually fair. Like as much as you say that, like that would
Boise
be that
State
same story.
Boise State was my other one. Or Kansas. All right. Kansas or Boise State. Either or. Either or.
Let's go into college football news for this past week. The college football news and us breaking it down, presented by No Rivals, our great partner. ShopNoRivals.com. Use the code PTFS at checkout for free shipping on the best hats in collegiate sports. It's the off season. That means there's designs coming. You're getting ready for hunting, whatever the hell it may be. They've got a design for you. New camo collection, new heritage collection. They're all out there. We got 3 guys on the show wearing them. Maurice rocking the Tulane, Jake with the upside down Colorado State, and myself with the Vodtech suede look. Check them out, shopnorivals.com, code PTFS at checkout for free shipping. Let's go into college football news. Let's start it off with the Mountain West. The Mountain West released their schedules in full, including the North Dakota State Bison. Jack State is on that schedule in week 0, which honestly, gents, I don't know what you think, but I think it becomes one of the more interesting week 0 games with the games that they threw at us. So I'm excited to watch that one. Also on that schedule,
probably a pricey ticket.
Fordham, at Air Force, and at Sac State, another member of the FBS now. So any takeaways from the Mountain West schedule and the North Dakota State polls from it?
I was going to say the North Dakota State Jack State game is more interesting to me than the Ireland game between TCU and North Carolina. Like I think it's the best game that we get on week 0. Now I'd have to go back and go through all of them. I think Hawaii, Stanford's up there, San Jose State. UNLV Memphis was another one released on that Mountain West schedule release.
Will be interesting this year.
That'll be a good one. But I still think that this North Dakota State intro to the FBS is you're hosting a conference title team in Jack State who returns. They lost Cam Cook, but they do return a good majority of that team, and they're going to expect to be among the top 3 or 4 within Conference USA this year. So you're going to get a clash of 2 really good G5 programs who expect to win their conference title this year. It's a rematch of I think it's 2015 national title. And it's going to be, I'm imagining it's going to be on national television in some respect, and you're going to get 2 programs that are going to be awesome and deserve the spotlight. But it's going to be the first introduction to the Fargo Dome for a lot of casual college football fans who have never watched a North Dakota State game.
I think if college football fans can remember just a couple short seasons ago or 2 seasons ago, North Dakota State at Colorado, week 0, week 1, I'm sorry, it was the first game on Thursday night.
Yep.
was awesome. Like this
Mhm.
team is legit, and this is another legit Conference USA team that played in the Conference USA title last year and fell to Kennesaw State. So it's going to be a dogfight, and it's definitely top of the schedule for me and top of the must-watch list out of week 0. JP.
I circled the Air Force one because I really want Air Force to come back into their own, right? Like they've had a couple down years after 10 years of being really good and winning a lot of commander-in-chief trophies. I need them to take a step forward and get back into this easily bowl eligible fight for Mountain West title status. And then I think that would go a long ways in this North Dakota State thing, right? Like these two teams are going to butt heads in the future for a long time if nobody moves and there's no more realignment. But this would be the one that would really test them for the first time along the lines of scrimmage and just what you're seeing. A little bit of unique attack. You go on the road to a place that if they're really good, like they pack it. So that's the one I circled because that's no one really does, or no one really takes those option teams lightly, especially academies, right? That's not an easy prep.
Reese.
Yeah, I think just what JP said too. I like the idea of getting an Air Force first compared to like a Navy and an Army who year in and year out there is, I think, a little more hard nosed. But I like the Sac State too for it. Sac State's a good time for you to figure out how are we going to stack against this, like in this FBS, because we've seen what North Dakota State is year in and year out. Like we don't really expect North Dakota State we don't expect them to go into like the FBS and have an awful year. Like Sac State, we're kind of like, like what do we think about them? Like, are they going to have what in their eyes, like what is a successful season? And like, this is probably a good measuring stick game for them to see like, okay, this is where we're at for the rest of when it comes to this Mountain West conference and or MAC-10 or MAC conference and all those things. So
Reese is on like 3 hours of sleep right now. So we got to cut him some slack today.
It was a great day, dude. I could drive back. That was awesome.
I was going to say,
the Air Force game a non-con game? Like they're kind
no,
of
I highlighted that wrong. I'm sorry. I highlighted it. It's not a non-conference, but it is the first conference game for North Dakota State, which was also the point I was going to make too. Like for North Dakota State's first year in the Mountain West kind of gave them a tough schedule and be like, go out and prove it. At Hawaii, at New Mexico, at Air Force, at UNLV. Like talking Mountain West football in March, you're basically playing the 3 toughest teams in the league all on the road.
Talking the new Mountain West too. Remembering that
exactly.
These teams are those other ones aren't even available.
Now the Big 12 or Pac-12 now.
Yeah, the Sac State game I think is intriguing, Reese. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it because it is, and we kind of got reamed a little bit on our Sac State video on this show for our breakdown of their move to the FBS. And granted, it was maybe 10 days post North Dakota State making that move. So you're trying to compare those two programs without really comparing them. Now we get a chance to see, all right, you're both here. You're both at this level. This is why people were maybe more excited or kind of not surprised by the move and expect more out of North Dakota State versus you, or you get a chance to show off that resource. And apparently what we've all been missing here in the college football world, covering the FBS week over week. So that is a fun note. But North Dakota State's non-con out there. Tough MAC schedule. We'll preview them come preview season. Next up on college football news, Matt Patricia becomes the highest paid defensive coordinator in college football, $3.75 million. I think you can live on that in Columbus pretty comfortably. Comes with a $100,000 raise in the season following to 3.85. Ohio State gave up under 10 points a game last year, 9.3 per game. Very good. We talked about that unit all year long. Expected, or is you're like, man, even I know how good they were, but that money is ridiculous for a coordinator. What are your thoughts, JP?
I just want to know if this bubble's going to pop at some point. Like, at what point are we going to stop rolling these numbers up higher and higher to pay coaches?
There's more money out there than I think we realize. I mean,
I know it'll probably keep going up, but your coaches are making around 13 a year. I think Andy Reid makes 10. Is the highest paid NFL coach. It's 10. So they're making more than NFL coaches. College football doesn't actually. It doesn't make more money than the NFL, I don't think.
No, it does not.
If it's going to continue going down this road, there's going to be a gap, right? Salaries are going to change. Buyouts are going to change how they get restructured just based on all the money that people have thrown at buyouts just to get out of it. Ask A&M, ask LSU, and go down the list. And then the Chip Kelly piece, I think he's the highest paid OC, $6 million. So like we're gaining that in the NFL. We're already surpassed the NFL head coaching wise. Now our coordinators getting that far. At some point, this bubble's got to pop and just kind of like let it find its simmering point a little bit for a while, because it just keeps going. Because every time someone does something good, you feel it's very NBA free agency, MLB free agency, where whoever was the last piece is kind of the bar for this next guy, right? Tariq Skubal is going to go get $400 million. That's based on what they gave a hitter and Judge, based on what they've given other pitchers in the past, and so that bar's reset every year. That's just not sustainable, in my opinion.
I think it's interesting. You listed on here that offense coordinator Arthur Smith makes $1.5 million. I'm not sure what you guys have seen, but I feel like the offense and defensive coordinator splits are usually much closer at a majority of schools throughout college football. Like maybe
they're not
$200,000 or
$2 million
$300,000 apart.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
So $2 million. I mean, is the feeling for you, Jake, that maybe somebody threw a large number at Patricia that nobody knows about, and they're just like, no, you got to stay here. We'll match it.
The Patricia side of things, I do think Ohio State's like, what's the incentive to stay in college football? Because I believe Matt Patricia could have taken any defensive job in the NFL and gone other places. But what's going to keep coaches around? Because we've seen it all the time. Like, didn't we just talk about 2 weeks ago with Hammock? Like, all these coaches are jumping into the NFL. Well, how do you keep these good NFL coaches in college football? And if there's no limit on what you can pay them, if you're a team like Ohio State who can afford it, you're damn right you pay Matt Patricia that money. And it's super early. He's only got 1 year of college football defensive coordinator under his belt, but he could be one of the best coordinators in the country. And his defense showed it last year and how good they are. The Arthur Smith side of things was like, well, you were a head coach, a failing head coach in the NFL. You come into Ohio State with a really good quarterback who we'll talk about. And also that, like, how much is Ryan Day still putting his hands on the offense? Like, how much of it is still Ryan Day's show, where Ryan Day's like, hey, come here, learn. We'll obviously take what you got. We trust you with play calls, but it's still like my offense. It's still my guys. So you're not going to get paid like Patricia is, where Ryan Day leaves it all up to him.
Well, at least Patricia's getting paid more than his best players on his defense. I don't know if that's true on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
No, it would not be true. I don't know if you guys saw the clip. Did you guys see? I forget which NFL wide receiver was like comparing bank accounts with Jeremiah Smith, and Jeremiah Smith had more money than the active NFL wide receiver. So I would guess no.
Good for you, Jeremiah.
Do you think you can live comfortably in Columbus, Ohio off of $4 million?
Yeah, you could just go find yourself a suburb an hour away. I think you'd be fine. You don't even live in Columbus. Just do a little commute, and you can get yourself some land and be just
Take
fine.
a jet every day.
Just do something. But I think this is also like, I'm a loser, but if I'm when I get a coordinator, like, dude, you know how you get $3.75 million just to coach one side of the football? Because like I know like everybody wants to be the head coach and like host a trophy, but like if you did all that and then obviously he wasn't as successful in the NFL and like now he's here, but you're just coaching a team that is going to be good. Like Ohio State is not going anywhere. They will be relevant for the next how many years. You are going to get guys year in and year out. And then also like you're an NFL coach, guys will come play for you just because of that. Like you can make so much money, and it's got to be so much easier coaching one side of the football too, where it's like, kind of like, I'm a loser, dude. If I'm getting paid $3 million just to coach one side of the football, they're like, hey, come coach in the NFL, but we're going to give you like 70. I'm like, I don't know. Like, that's a lot more work.
I'm a loser.
Guys.
I want to be a coordinator only.
I'm kind of good right here in Columbus, Ohio, where like my life's a little easier. And like, it's just great, but it's also the debate too in the end of like, we talk about like why guys leave in college go to the NFL is the recruiting and the NIL and all this stuff. So like like JB mentioned, you got to pay these guys a little more to try to come down here because there is probably a little more of a headache dealing with the 18 to 22-year-olds and money and all that stuff compared to the professionals that are getting paid millions of dollars too. And like, they're just like, they know it's a job. So
I think it also helps when you get a presidential level pay open at your school. So shout out Ted Carter. Hope that relationship works out for you. All right, let's go to the next point. Let's talk NIL within the G6. Miami of Ohio released their numbers for the 2025 season. It's pretty interesting. 2024, Miami had $80,000 for their NIL budget. This year, they're estimating to receive $8 to $10 million in funding. During the 2024 to 2025 transfer cycle, 66% of the returning first-team all-conference players entered the transfer portal. JP, you had a question for the group regarding this point.
Yeah. Is this an investment in which we'll see kind of trickle down everywhere? Like, you have to stay relevant, right? We talked about it. It was the facilities race for a while, and now it's more so based around this team in your conference is doing it, right? The Big 12 is dealing with that in tech. I think there's some schools probably in the new Pac-12 that are chasing some money. People are chasing Ohio State, Indiana. It feels like in the Big 10 in some spots. Are we just going to chase Miami University now in this sense? Like, this is what everybody's going to look at, be like, we have to figure something out here quick. It's got to be a trickle-down effect of some sort.
If they can. I saw it as, in kind of the article on CBS Sports highlighted it at the end, they're playing this like the long-term game of, if this works out and goes well, can we jump to a Super League or can we jump to a Big 12 in, say, 2030, 2031?
Mm-hmm.
That's more, and you see with the success the basketball team's having right now, they're more so investing in the fact that they are looking to make the jump. I just don't see a Kent State being like, Miami, they got $8 million in like, we got to find that. You're never going to find that if you're Kent State. I'm sorry, not to put Kent State under the bus here, but there's other teams like Kent State who I don't think will ever find it. And they just have to find their own way within this G6 right now to try to stay relevant and competitive. And $8 million doesn't guarantee you're going to be any good. We've seen a ton of teams at the Power 4 level, especially, that have all this money, get new transfers, and they can't compete, and they're no good because their rosters, they all just play for dollar signs and not the jersey on the front of their chest. So I don't think it's guaranteed to win. But to your point, JP, if Miami of Ohio starts winning MAC title after MAC title, there will be teams, Sac State could be one, who's going to continue to try to up their budget and try to compete.
One thing that for me as a question is, Miami of Ohio, if they do this and they go out and win a MAC title immediately, and then all of a sudden they're in that conversation for the college football playoff, you may get the trickle-down effect. But, boys, haven't we already seen this? Memphis and the FedEx money hasn't gotten them much further than where they were at. They've got this funding. So I don't know I think Jakey kind of nailed it, where I don't know if 8 to 10 million is enough to really get to that point, especially when you're adding prominent players within your conference that have already been doing it and maybe a level down. So I think it's a wait and see, but it's good for the sport overall. I think these smaller programs getting the funding and trying to become more competitive at least shows the initiative
100%.
to where we're not just going to drop down to our own level.
This money needs to be used for retention.
Yes.
Yeah. More so than acquisition, right? That's what this 8 to 10 needs to be used for. You're going to have an opportunity to maybe get somebody who was a 4-star kid that was at, just stay in state at Ohio State or around you at a Michigan or Michigan State or something, and was like, okay, well, I sat a year there, I didn't really like it, looking for something else, and just isn't a hot button or a hot ticket on the market. And you can go get them, and you'll pay them a little more than some others and use it that way. But you're rolling the dice more there than you are retaining pieces. Like when the Gabberts were there, that would have been pieces you would have paid to retain, and you would have had to. That's what this money would be for.
You nailed it. That's what the article said. It's not used because they tried to. They actually said we were in a bidding war with an ACC school and we lost, and our fan base or our donors and our coaching staff were upset. And they're like, that's not what the money's used for. Parks laid out the stat. 66% of first team all conference G5 players hit the portal and go take a bigger pay raise. It is to limit that gap of where I'm not losing 7 of 10 all conference guys to another school. No, it's to try to keep the 7 of 10 and just lose 2 or 3 and that you get outbid there. That's really what this money's for. And the article came out, and I think a lot of people mistook it and were like, oh, Miami of Ohio is going to be trying to bid for the next 5-star.
Yeah. No, and you can't be that. You'll never be that, because at the end of the day, the money is going to matter. Obviously, you're going to bypass a little bit of your brand standard for a paycheck, but you also have to realize, like, are you going to play on national television every week? No matter if you're making $4 million, I'm not going to turn on Miami of Ohio every Saturday in prime time. It'll never happen. Reese?
Yeah, no, I think that's the biggest thing is everybody wants to go to that next level, but being smart with the money you get, because $8 to $10 million, that's something to bet your eyes at. Like, that's still a significant amount of money. So when you get that, you have to use it wisely. You're not going to go spend a tenth of that on one guy. Like you need to divvy that up amongst your the trenches, like whatever it is, like what assets are
$300,000 here.
yeah,
there,
like we got to figure out like where is it gonna be best used. Like it's like these people are also in college. College people tend to be smart, so it's like let's spread the money out, not put it on one spot. So I like that idea of it, and let's take care of it because I mean Miami, Ohio, like they're not irrelevant when it comes to the MAC. They're a team who's usually competitive. Like they're the middle of the top half year in and year out. So like, and especially if you're gonna like, does this set a standard going forward too for because the MAC, we know what the MAC is year in and year out. And so, like, if this can help set a precedent of, hey, this is helping us retain guys further on, and then you are, Ohio or you're Western Michigan, and you're like, hey, look at what they're doing over here with $10 million. Like, can we fundraise that same amount to help keep guys from jumping? And like that just kind of helps keep the G6 to be what it is. And like, does this like go into other the group of six like conferences as well too? It's like I just think it's a good precedent for that as well too. Like this is a trial for it. And let's see how much it can be impactful in the next 3-4 years.
And I don't want like the outside perception to be like, oh well, they just want to it's to pay the players. Like it kind of is, right? It's to retain these guys, but it's an investment in the school. This isn't just an investment in keeping kids. It's not just an investment in winning more football games. It's an investment in your school. It's an investment in your brand. Because if you're winning football games and just staying on the Miami thing here, if you're winning MAC titles and you're getting better each year, like your 2027 team is better than your 2025 team, and maybe they both end in the same situation, solely based on the kids you keep, and you keep at that same development piece, and maybe you land a couple here or there, one of these is going to pop to 11-1 or a 12-0. It has a shot to get into football or the college football playoff. And then your brand's really amplified. And that's the investment. Piece. That's the money, right? The 10's not going to feel like a ton when you're cashing a CFP check or you're cashing whatever else there is to cash on brand blowing up, right? Like you've seen enrollments jump at schools through a March Madness game. Like Florida Gulf Coast saw this, a huge jump. Even UCF in football, when they were winning those football games, we were just talking about this team earlier, they saw a large jump in enrollment. Like you were investing in the school while investing in a college football team and players. It's a different way of going about it than we are used to and in the past, but this is an investment in the school.
All right, let's leave college football news there. We'll cover more as more releases throughout the offseason. We have been getting a pretty good, consistent realm of news, not on the negative side. So shout out for that. Although we could probably cover a couple things that we've already mentioned, but let's go into the Big Ten. Let's talk the point of tonight's show, and that is ranking the 2026 Big Ten quarterbacks. Gentlemen, we listed them top to bottom in the document. Hopefully you have your list separate. We will release these as graphics. I know I got hammered a little bit on my top 10 coaches in college football, and we will continue to post those throughout the offseason to keep that conversation going as well. But let's talk quarterbacks of the Big Ten Conference expected in 2026. There's a couple names for 2 or 3 schools that they're kind of going back and forth. Either of those probably wouldn't change on your list much. Let's start it off with, we'll go around the horn. Do we want to start at 18 or do we want to start at 1? Where are you guys seeing this?
Can I ask a question to kind of get the list rolling?
Sure.
Yeah. Do we have a consensus number 1? And is he wearing black and gold?
I was going to ask from 18 to 16. Can you really make an argument for anybody other than
you do if you do it off playing time?
Sure. Like what is
that
it?
Helps.
Milovich at Michigan State. Milivojevic. You got the Hecklinski, Hank Brown situation at Iowa, and you got Ryan Brown. Like those 3 are your bottom.
Those are my bottom 3, starting with the Hank Brown split, then Nisiolovich, and then Brown at the bottom.
Milivojevic. Also, Cam Fancher's at Michigan State.
Friend.
Not that I don't know if he'll play, but that's worth noting.
But going back to what you said, so those are the bottom 3 for everybody. Okay, I don't think anybody's going to jump at the page outside of Burners at that.
I had Hecklinski and Brown last because just pure, you haven't seen him. You've seen Brown, but I don't think he's going to win the job, and you haven't seen him, so they got to start at the bottom. That's just, I don't know.
We'll go this way because I do think we'll have a difference. Number 1, who do you got, JP?
Dante Moore.
I also have that.
I also have that.
Reese?
Another, I thought
Yeah,
I saw
okay,
Bill.
sorry, I
Bill
couldn't shake your
Conley.
head. I got my list in front of me. But yes, okay, good. Unanimous number one.
I saw Bill Conley had Dante Moore at like 3 or 4. And
He wasn't number one in the Big Ten.
I love Bill Conley, and I was very
I
perplexed.
think
by
Fornelli
that.
had him too.
Number 2 on everybody's list. JP.
Julian saying.
Same for me.
OH.
Damon Williams.
Okay.
Okay.
Defend.
I have him up there, but I don't have him that high.
The Julian saying thing I just can't get the last 2 games out of my head. Like if you throw really good
He
defenses
got
at
to
him,
play those games.
he did, but it wasn't like you look at the Texas game. It wasn't like name a game where Julian Sayin went out there and won Ohio State a game this year with the playmakers that he had. And I was a big Julian Sayin advocate. I love Julian Sayin. I actually do
too, because the defense gave up 10 points. You know what I mean?
And that's where we got to draw the line with Julian Sayin, because I tried to not take into account him throwing to the best receiving core in college football year in and year out. But you kind of also have to. Like if I took Julian Sayin out of, throwing to Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate every play, would he be a different quarterback? And I think yes. That's why I put Dante Moore ahead of him, because I don't think that would be it. We don't see that much star power out of Oregon. Not like it's a massive fallout, but you do have to take into account like he is throwing to legitimately the best options in the sport majority of the time.
And I think sorry, I was going to say
you saying Damon over him for those reasons with tough defenses, but
sure. My last rebuttal would have been like throw Sayin and Damon on the same team, same offense or whatever. I trust Damon to make more plays with his legs also and improvise than Julian Sayin at this point.
All right. Well, I'm making the executive decision. If you're listening to this on YouTube clips, this is the list that's getting tweeted, because that's going to have people in an uproar, especially Ohio State fans. So congrats, Jake. You win clickbait of the week.
That's what I'm
just
here for.
Just for reference here, against that Oregon defense, Damon Williams, 15 of 32 touchdowns, 2 picks. Against that Michigan team, 20 of 32, no touchdowns, 3 picks. Against that Ohio State team,
that big house game was tough. That big house game was tough.
18 of 22, no picks, no touchdowns. So he wasn't bad in that one. Sacked 6 times, by the way. Okay.
This question from GA is good, because I also thought you could throw Dylan Raiola on this list. Like he's started. If I had, if I put Dylan Raiola here, I mean, he's probably top 10 for me if I'm just looking at the list here. So that's a good question. So no, we are only doing projected starters. Yeah,
projected starters in the spring for 2026. Good cover there from GA. I got my list kind of side by side, so some of the screens cut off. So I apologize if I didn't see the comment. But all right, number 3 on everybody's list. Reese, you also had
I had Sand. Yes, okay.
Yes. Number 3 on everybody's list. JP.
I had Josh Hoover, but I'll hear conversation.
Look at Jake's eyes. I knew this was coming. I'll give my number 3, and this one's maybe as much clickbait as Damon Williams at 2, but I'm putting Colton Joseph at 3.
Yeah, nope, I don't have him anywhere near my top 5, but yep,
that's crazy. What's with Joe? So nobody has Damon Williams at 3. Can anybody tell me why Damon Williams not at 3?
Because I think these other quarterbacks before him are better.
Good defense, Reese.
I guess I'll use JP. I would take these quarterbacks in front of him over him.
Yeah,
I like the Colton Joseph thing. I like the Colton Joseph thing. I'm just
turnovers is a problem.
Sounds like you're an Old Dominion hater.
No, the fact that it was Old Dominion and the fact that I think Wisconsin, it scares me what Wisconsin could turn him into.
Yeah, but I'm really do the projected.
If he stays upright, we haven't seen a Wisconsin transfer quarterback turn into anything bad other than in a walking boot.
All get hurt.
Yeah, true. For me, having Hoover there is yes, there is a turnover issue. I also feel like he felt like he had to do more than he needed to.
And
the arm talent's elite. The arm talent's elite. The ability to put a football where he wants to, when he's not making just boneheaded mistakes, is really top tier. It's the same thing Mendoza was doing at Cal, right? Like very similar to how they were handling those offenses, right? He obviously, like if we're going to count the legs, he has the ability to do it, but he's not this massive threat to go run. But I have Sayin above him, so that's not a deal breaker for me. Obviously, it's a huge plus nowadays. So I have him at 3 because I still think he's really, really good. And yes, Jake, he got he gets a lot of love for being one of the best, and probably rightfully
Stat
so.
pad
Him
merchant.
and
Stat pad merchant.
I don't think it's that as much. And the Sawyer Robertson thing, those are two quarterbacks I still don't think got enough love in the Big 12 last year together.
I'll tell you this one. I'm not putting Rocco Beck below Josh Hoover. Will not do it. I've saw it, twice?
Rocco had a
in my
worse
life?
year.
And he beat him with a broken shoulder. He beat Josh Hoover with a broken shoulder. And he
You
still
were playing
managed to beat
TCU's
TCU.
defense. He was playing Iowa State's defense. That's very different.
I've seen it numerous times. I've just
There's a
seen
big
Between the
variety.
lines.
But I think in defense of JP a little bit, and it's something I consistently say, especially about Indiana's system and Signetti, the way he operates. That system is set up incredibly well for a quarterback to not have to do too much. And that's what I think we saw when Orlovsky came out a couple of weeks ago talking NFL draft, and we don't cover that much on the show. But he was like, I'm not super impressed with Fernando Mendoza, like being that guy, being the #1 overall pick. And I think it's because like a lot of things are simplified for this quarterback. Like this guy got the most out of Curtis Rourke, for Christ's sake, like being in Heisman talks a season before. And then he got a Heisman. So like Josh Hoover not having to do everything under the sun like he did at TCU is probably going to end up really well.
Mendoza made a lot of NFL throws that Rourke could simply like there was you can go watch and clip.
Also
them.
his legs
Like,
too.
they're
He
nonstop.
was
He figured that out.
And he's
Rourke could move
quarterback
too.
draw.
We're not going to
Let's go to number 4.
Running.
Wait, I never gave mine.
Yeah, give your
I think
give your
yours
3,
was-
Reese.
Maeva.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd hear it.
I got Maeva at 4 if we want to start there.
I have 4 as
Okay.
well.
I had him at 3. I just think you look at also big thing. Lincoln Rise is head coach. Like that helps a lot. Like look at what the guys he's thrown to. He has had the Blitnikoff winner out wide, 27 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. That's kind of the issue. But I mean, I think he eclipsed 3,700 yards. I think he had the second highest overall QBR like in the country. So yeah, I got my up there.
I like
Okay,
Maeva.
I have it at 3 for Reese. Somebody said I am at 4.
Yep, I
Yeah.
do.
I have Underwood at 4. And I guess it's still kind of, a ceiling feel, but the way he runs the ball and operated an offense as a true freshman was impressive. I think throwing, that's his downfall and what majority of you probably knocked him down the list for. But I think the year 2 jump could be the difference. I'll put him at 4 for the way he should be able to run this offense in year 2.
Okay,
So
we had
that's where mine's
3. We're at 4. We had
Reese did not give his 4th.
no. You
4 is where I got Hoover.
Hoover.
Okay.
That's right.
We're at 4.
I was a real, not big, huge believer in Maeva going into this year. This year he proved me wrong completely. Right, that offense looked different with him at the helm for a full year. Like he was really good. So that's
with
why
no
I-
running back, by the way, for 6 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Or
They-
a backup running back. Third
That
string.
offense was really, really good, and I think he was a huge piece of it.
I have Maeva at 5. If we're going to go down the list, did anybody have any different at 4 outside of Bryce Underwood, Maeva, Jake?
Reese had Hoover. I also had Maeva at 4.
Okay. So
And then 5, I have Underwood. That's where
okay,
I have
we
Williams.
just flip
kind
flopped.
of the same thing you said, Parks. Like he wasn't perfect, but he was also 18 years old trying to
Yep.
manage a Michigan offense. I think it can only be better with Kyle Whittingham as your coach now, and Beck as a play caller. So yeah, I think his ceiling's much higher this year, and he took his lumps this year.
Reese at 5 for you.
Williams. I got him at Washington.
Devon Williams. Okay.
Ditto.
So there's the first
then-
Williams mentioned since number 2.
Yeah.
Pretty nuts. After 5, 6, that's where I have Josh Hoover. JP?
I got
That's where I have
Bryson.
Underwood.
Rocco Becht at number 6.
Too high.
Way too high.
Not way too high, but too high for sure.
He was bad in November. I'm aware. He also he had
Bad time to be bad in the Big Ten.
shoulder surgery was a real thing, and I think
Yeah,
it was rotator
I
cuff.
understand that.
And he was the first 7 weeks before the shoulder thing. He was a top 10 quarterback in college football for me. And what were we? 6-0, 5-0 or something. Beating 2 top 25 teams. Like I mentioned it before. I've seen him close games. I've seen Josh Hoover close and actually not win games. So he's not going to blow you off the stat page for 3,500 yards like Hoover does. But when quarterbacks need to play quarterback and win you football games, yeah, it's Rocco Becht for
He's
me.
got
if he's
heart.
healthy.
Hey, I'm
Okay.
a Rocco defender. I famously said I'd pick him over Purdy in a lot of situations, but I think
Also said
I have
that.
him a little lower. So I just don't think that was the year you want to see. Injured or not, I can play it to a little bit. That's why I didn't drop him a ton, but
I
that
don't
does
think a
not
lot of people are
make a
going
little
to
bit.
like take into account for the injury. Like not a lot of people will know about the outside of the Iowa State circle.
I think there's an
Yeah.
emotional connection happening here, Jake, that we got to point out. I mean, 6 is I don't think we're going to see that.
I don't
very
think
often.
I don't have him way.
I'm
over
looking at the
six.
rest of this list, and I'm all ears hearing who's better than Rocco.
Okay, I got one.
Go ahead. We're on 6, by the
7.
way. Reese, do you
I
who
had
do you have at
Bryce.
6?
We
I
both
had
had Bryce at 6.
Okay. Okay, so 7.
Malik Washington.
That is 100% the correct answer. That is also my 7. And anybody who
is-
watched Maryland play last year would have a hard ass time disagreeing with you.
With probably Maryland's worst receiving core they've had in the last 5 years. Brutal, non-existent offensive line and run game. And he is darts. A lot of drops. I think he was the highest drop rate in the country he dealt with.
Yeah, he was.
This
He has
kid
a
was
problem
true
with a little
freshman.
touch on the ball. He does throw absolute missiles. That's like his
Yeah, I
downfall.
mean,
but he operated that offense as well as Underwood operated Michigan as a true freshman.
What he
That's-
as a pro prospect, better than Rocco. What he could be in 2 more years, much better than what Rocco could be as a college quarterback. I guess my argument is, if we're just talking 2026, I would love to see the comparison between Malik Washington and Rocco back next year.
They'll be thrown to a couple
Yeah.
different receiving cores, but sure.
I'm saying if I had a team and just give me Penn State's roster next year, I'm still taking Malik Washington, I think.
I think Malik
Well,
Washington
it's
at
not-
Penn State,
I-
he starts
I
over
totally
Rocco.
debate.
Malik Washington is 6'5", 230. Like that's a
It-
fridge for your quarterback.
He was
I
so
don't
good
think-
last year.
Shape, I had backed over Washington, but like I literally have backed at 7 and Washington at 8. And like I can hear JP's argument though of like, who would you rather have as my quarterback? I mean, I would take a bigger guy who's a little bit of a slinger, but again, it's what's your offensive scheme going to be? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? But I mean, I don't think you're far off having those guys.
I'm not mad at any of it though. I would hear the conversation and
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit there and be like, I stand on the ground and not moving an inch for that one.
All right. So Malik Washington at 7. You have that same thing, Reese?
Yeah, Washington or Beck is 7, Washington is 8 for me.
Okay. So you had Beck at 7.
Hoover's
All
my
right.
7. Hoover 7, Washington 8 for me.
Okay. Washington at 8. 9. Number 9 for everybody. JP.
I gave Rocco's at 8. If just want to be sure I was clear there, right below 9. I had Colton Joseph.
Yeah, me too.
This one is, I think that run game at ODU really helped him be as efficient, as efficient as he was, right? And it was a lot of spread the ball out, spread the wealth, get the ball in and out to receivers quick. Now he goes into an offense where it's going to be a little more, let's stretch it vertically, let's get between the hashes, let's go, sideline to sideline. So that's where I will see that next step for him. But you can't deny the stats, and you can't deny the production, and you can't deny the leadership the guy's brought. So he is a top 10 quarterback in the Big Ten right now for me.
All right. Let's go through as JP just listed off his 9 with Colton Joseph. JP, list your 1 through 9. Just as a recap, so if anybody joined, this
Okay.
is where our lists are at.
Dante Moore at 1, Julian Sayin, Josh Hoover, Jade Maeva, Damon Williams, Bryce Underwood, Malik Washington, Rocco Beck, Colton Joseph.
Perfect. My 9, I have Anthony Calandria. I think he's the top 10 quarterback in the conference. And you laughed.
You're
Jake,
getting
but-
Josh Hoover
Shape.
2.0. This is gonna be awesome.
Shape, are you going to clap back about like how he just said Rocco might have been too much of a homer pick or no? Or
I don't think
I just let it.
Bill
speak
Conley
for
has him as
itself,
the top
Reese.
30 quarterback in the country out of all Power 4 quarterbacks, Reese. So I don't think it's a homer
Is he
pick at
number-
all.
29 career interceptions.
Yeah, and half of those are at Virginia as a true
Well,
freshman.
that was
where he
his
was
last
thrown
Power 4
to
stop.
Some neutral Northwestern Mutual insurance salesman. Name me a receiver 2 years ago at Virginia, Jake.
We're gonna play that game.
Okay, just saying. So you say homers, but he also Rocco was throwing to the top 25 team receivers. He was
Won't
throwing
matter
to
if they don't
Virginia.
Okay, if we're gonna do that
Downfield.
game, I don't think there's an NFL receiver on Iowa State last year. I've been very vocal about that. So fine, we will do that.
Yeah, and he threw the ball like dog shit the entire month of November. but don't worry, he was hurt. Anthony Calandria at 9 for me. Starting 1 through 9, Dante Moore, Julian Sand, Colton Joseph, Bryce Underwood, Jaden Maava, Josh Hoover, Damon Williams, Malik Washington, Anthony Calandria. Jake,
Pretty
you're
sure
9.
we get a Nebraska Penn State this year, don't we, or no?
We do not. We played them last year. 9.
You don't
for
get
Jake.
Iowa Penn State either.
Yeah, I knew that one. Dante Moore 1, Damon Williams 2, Julian Sand, Jaden Maeva, Bryce Underwood, Rocco Beck 6, Josh Hoover 7, Malik Washington 8, Colton Joseph is my 9th.
Okay, so tie with JP on number 9. Colton Joseph. Reese, yours.
Dante Moore, Julian Sane, Jaden Maava, Hoover, Williams, Underwood, Becht, Malik Washington, and then I also have Joseph at number 9. I was really debating between him and Hauser in this spot, but I think just projectability and what I think Joseph can be this year. I think he just I'll give him a slight edge. Not saying he's going to be ridiculously better, but I'll give him a slight edge over Hauser, I think.
All right. I
So,
like it.
well, didn't Malachi Fields play at Virginia a couple years ago? He's pretty good.
But he's Googling. He thinks that.
I'm not Googling. I'm actually
Look
looking.
at him.
I'm not looking over here.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Caden Hauser stuff. Well,
Stats.
Saquon's
Like
away,
Google.
but yeah.
All right, let's go to 10 on everybody's list. JP.
I had Caden Hauser, and exactly
That's
what
where
you said.
I
don't
had-
need to.
Yep.
Yeah,
I have that as well. I have Caden Hauser.
you can
at
flip
10.
him if you want to. To be honest, him and Joseph, and I'm cool with it.
Jake, your 10.
Yes, Caden Hauser as well.
Okay, so cross the board. Caden Hauser at
Look
10.
at us,
That's
boys.
impressive to run into it.
Look at us.
11. JP.
Drake Lindsay.
Wow. Okay.
I still think he's a really good quarterback.
He
Yeah,
is. He
and
is. He's great.
He's in a different situation than a lot of these guys. He's in the very much PJ Flex system where it's not this vertical passing game. It's very much still pro style. It's kind of what Iowa was doing a couple years ago when they were literally inept on that side of the football. Really good arm, high-powered guy, been really accurate, 18 touchdowns, 6 picks, doesn't move around super well, but he's the best they've had since probably the 2021 version of Tanner Morgan, I'd say. And I think he is.
Tanner Morgan, what a pull.
Yeah. I think he's up there. I would think I could hear the argument for the guy below him, but I just have him there based on experience in the Big Ten at this point.
11 off the board for me. This is where I have Rocco. And it's not in a bad case. I think his game experience comes into play. He's been good in late games. I'll be intrigued to see how many situations he gets into like that this year. But I do think there will be a difference, obviously, in play that he'll have to learn his first few weeks in the Big Ten. I think these defenses across the board are bigger and a little bit better. And so I'll be intrigued to see if he can make the transfer over to that conference with some of the same targets and some improved targets. So I'm at 11. Reese.
Call me crazy, but I'm going Nico here. I just
Not
think
crazy.
where he's at, we're obviously the Tennessee years didn't pan out. But we see what that team did last year. I mean, Penn State came into town. That's kind of where the whole dismantling of that program really happened. I think Nico's a guy. You still have the projectability, you still have the legs, you still have the arm. And like Chesney coming in too. Let's see what this team's going to be about this year. It's year 2 for Nico here. It's year 1 for Bob. So let's see what this kind of UCLA is going to be about. But I don't hate Nico. I think if you're putting him down here, I don't know if you can really. I just can't argue having him below like Calandria or Lindsay or Childs or any of these guys that are left. Like I think if you're picking who would you rather have, I think I'd rather have Nico than some of these guys.
That's fair. 12 for
11, Anthony Calandria for me.
Okay. So you have him 2 spots lower than me, and you're giving me shit like he's at 17 on your list.
To be fair, like 10 through 10, 11, 12 was.
I think there's a gap.
Me,
Yeah,
like,
there's a
top.
gap between
Yeah.
1 and 9 and 10.
Yeah,
and
no shit. There's
18
people in
for me.
between.
Yeah, there are
Thanks,
like
Jake.
legitimate 4 or 5 tiers of quarterbacks in the Big Ten in this 18-team league. I'll go 12, 13, 14 here, just to be kind of quick. As
Okay.
I feel like we're gonna get we need less explanation on it. 12, I
Yeah.
have Calandria there. 13, Childs. 14, Nico.
13 shots.
I
14.
just don't get the Nico stuff at this moment in time.
Yeah.
Childs is turnover prone. There's a gap between 12 and 13.
You just throw Lonergan. You're only missing Lonergan, so just throw him in there as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're 12 through 15. Lindsay is 12 for me. Nico 13. Childs 14. Lonergan 15.
I guess I thought more raw talent based on my list. That's how I pan it out. 12, I went Nico. 13, Aiden Childs. 14, Drake Lindsay. Then Lonergan at 15 would be I finished my list. But I think Lonergan's interesting. I think losing Ian Strong's really tough for that Rutgers out.
And KJ Duff.
Yeah.
But what was the other one?
The North Texas guy.
DT Sheffield.
Yes, thank you. That's going to be really tough there. But he's got game
Rutgers,
experience.
That's going to be one of my favorite trivia questions of all time is how good that receiving core at Rutgers was last year. We're going to have to pull all three of those.
Yeah. It was really good.
I think kind of to JP's point,
rifle.
the Lindsay, Nico, Aiden Childs circle. I kind of like Lindsay's situation ahead of Nico and Aiden Childs. Granted, we'll see what Chip Kelly could maybe turn Aiden Childs into, but at this point, we say raw talent, but we've seen 2 full years of Nico and Aiden Childs, and I'm just not sure if it can get any better based off. I know what the raw talent and the recruiting profile was, but Drake Lindsay doesn't have to throw for 3,000 yards, but I love his situation a lot more as the Minnesota quarterback for the next 3 years than I do with those other 2 guys.
Yeah, we'll have to see the system fit for Childs, like you mentioned. But I just think the running ability of both Nico and Childs makes them a little bit more intriguing to me than Drake Lindsay. But Drake Lindsay doesn't have to do that much. But they've got to replace a running back position that was really uberly important at Minnesota.
They've done it well, though, over the years.
Yeah.
Also, that offensive line's the worst it's been in the last couple of years. And like the knock on Lindsay is, yes, he had a good year, but he still struggled completion percentage-wise. I think it was just a tick above 60.
And he had
That's got to be
games.
better in that kind of system.
He had games of this is a freshman quarterback.
He was fun to watch in that bowl game, though. I know that New Mexico team really got after him and got into the backfield and created a lot of havoc, but he threw a couple footballs that were really, really good.
Yeah, wasn't the game winner a diving pass? Pretty good ball.
Yeah, God, what a fun bowl game that was, man.
And Drake Lindsay had a
uniform matchup that was too.
He had a rushing touchdown to win in overtime against, I want to say it was Michigan State, but he did have a rushing touchdown to win a football game.
Yeah.
So shout out Drake Lindsay. But all right, that's everybody. We ranked the entire 2026 Big Ten quarterback list based upon starters within the spring season. Let us know if you disagree anywhere. If you're like, this person should be way higher, you guys are wrong on Hoover, Calandria, whoever the hell you may think. Let us know in the comments. We appreciate you watching this clip if you're on YouTube, and we appreciate you watching the entire show altogether. If you're watching live on YouTube right now, make sure you hit the like button on this video before you leave. Hit the subscribe button. We got content coming all off season longs. The boys are back in the United States. So that means more consistent content. We love you. We'll see you next time. Closing comments from the group. Any wise wisdom going into Thursday of this week, Jake?
Conference title week is better than March Madness round 1.
Thank you, Italy.
Wise wisdom or a hot take? Whichever works.
World's baseball.
World's baseball.
I mean, technically, it is the World's Baseball Classic.
Yeah.
Technically, it is.
WBC, watch the Americans get your St. Patty's on. It's going to be a good weekend, fellas.
God, St. Patty's
Spring right around the corner. Some sunshine. Playoff hockey. March Madness. The best is yet to come. And then right around the corner, college football. We love you. We'll see you next time. Jake, take her away.
Let's play it.